Good morning, everyone. At this time, we will begin the public briefing for the winter storm event. Today is Friday, January the 17th at 11 a.m. My name is Brian Beam. I'm Calcasieu Parish Administrator. As we always do, we'll have several speakers today, but because it is a weather event, that's what we want to start with. We've had some really good updates yesterday and earlier today from National Weather Service here in Lake Charles, and they are represented today by Doug Kramer. At this time, I'm going to ask him to come forward and give an update, and for each of the speakers, we'll ask each of you if there are any questions to ask them when they're up at the podium. So at this time, Doug Kramer.
Okay, good morning. Doug Kramer, Warning Coordination Meteorologist, National Weather Service here in Lake Charles. And for the last several days, we've been monitoring the progress of an Arctic air mass that is currently over northern Canada, starting to make its southward progression across those Canadian prairies as we speak. Temperatures up there are in the minus 20 degree range. So it is a very cold air mass. The one thing that we have been very confident in over the last couple of days, this air mass will surge into South Louisiana, most likely come Monday. Unfortunately, later on Monday night and especially into Tuesday, there will be some precipitation that begins to develop within that air mass. So we're talking temperatures getting below freezing for much of the area, and most likely those freezing temperatures will surge into the Gulf of Mexico. So we're talking just about everyone all the way down to the coastal regions. This morning, our analysis gave us some pretty good updates, and we're becoming a little bit more confident in the precipitation type of snow. So as of right now, some of the probabilities that we're running in our analysis is suggesting that we're looking at a minor snow event across much of southeast Texas and into southwest Louisiana. And I do want to go over some of those details here for you. As we take a look at this particular slide, you know, the timing of this precipitation is going to be very important for planning purposes. And we are looking at this precipitation, potentially most likely snow, beginning sometime most likely after midnight. So we have delayed the onset of this snowfall by several hours from yesterday. And so after midnight, and then becoming more of a daytime event for us here in Calcasieu Parish, during the daytime on Tuesday, you can expect a lot of cloud cover and some light snow, pretty consistent snowfall most likely during the day on Tuesday, and then eventually winding down late Tuesday afternoon into the evening. So it'll be in here and it'll be out. It'll last a few hours, and we're most likely looking at some minor accumulations here in this area. The other thing we want to talk about, temperatures are going to get pretty cold. We're looking at about 3 nights in a row. So Sunday night and Monday night and Tuesday night, temperatures falling below freezing. And some of those wind chills could get down into the low to mid-teens at times during those morning hours. So that's something to prepare for. That's going to conclude this briefing. Certainly answer any questions that anybody may have. We can talk about any specifics.
Okay, thank you, Doug. All the young people in southwest Louisiana are glad to hear that you think it's going to snow. The rest of us, though, know that that comes with a lot of preparations for something, frankly, we're not that used to here, and but that's why we're here. Appreciate that, very helpful. I always like to say it, this is an old cliche, but no weather event is the same, even within winter storms. We had one recently, Blair. This one's not going to be exactly the same. Is it dry? Is it wet? Therefore, we try to plan as best we can. So let's start getting into those preparations. And the first person I want to call up in terms of that will be our Emergency Preparedness Director, Jared Mays. If you'll come forward, and he's going to have updates on several different parts of the preparations. Thank you.
All right, good morning. I'm Jared Mays, the Director of Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. My office has been monitoring the weather conditions and will continue to monitor the conditions throughout the event. We have coordinated resources and staged for a response. We've met with other departments. within internally and our outside partners and agencies to make sure that we're all coordinating the same efforts for our response. The Calcasieu Parish Public Works and Engineering Department will be monitoring bridge and road conditions throughout this event. Starting Monday afternoon, they will start spreading sand on the parish bridges, and they will continue to monitor and ensure that if they need to reapply, they will reapply throughout the event. The water districts are monitoring water conditions to limit disruptions as we drop below freezing temperatures next week. The parish and municipalities ask the citizens to prepare their pipes, monitor for breaks and leaks, and if you are running water, to prevent frozen pipes, that you do so at a drip and not a steady stream. Running of excessive water lowers the pressure in lines for everyone and requires a lengthy time for us to build back up the water pressure. So that's why that's important to be able to monitor that and just have a little small drip going. There will be sheltering on the east side and west sides of the parish. Water's Edge, located at 2760 Power Center Parkway here in Lake Charles, and the Sulphur Christian Community Coalition, located at 501 East Burton Street in Sulphur. These faith-based shelters have been operating for years to provide a great service to our parish. Calcasieu Parish Police Jury is grateful to partner with them in their efforts. They understand community needs and are excellent in providing services and resources required to support our citizens. We thank them for their service to our communities. Salvation Army has housing also for males, located at 3020 Legion Street here in Lake Charles, and they will house up to approximately 40 males. If anybody requires assistance, resources, and or needs assistance with transportation, they can call 211, and they will be able to provide you with the information needed to get the contacts for your assistance. At this time, does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And some of the other speakers will touch on different parts of what Jared covered there briefly in summary. Because of the nature of this storm, the topic of transportation is important to kind of pull out and talk about separately. As you know, the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development oversees all the state highways here, and District Administrator Seth Woods is here to cover their preparations. Also coming up, just to stand with Seth, is Matt Gaspard with the Louisiana State Police. If y'all have any questions for either of them, certainly right afterwards, but at this time I'd like to introduce Seth Woods.
Good morning. Seth Woods, District Administrator of District 07 with the Department of Transportation and Development. I'm joined here this morning with Matt Gaspard, Trooper of LSP. We have been in constant communication with Louisiana State Police as well as local enforcement agencies and sheriff's departments throughout our southwest Louisiana region. We've been watching this weather event as it's coming and approaching. We have been in constant communication, and we'll continue to be in communication throughout this event to be able to monitor roadways and to communicate to the traveling public any conditions that do deteriorate. As far as the Department of Transportation, our efforts for response for this are going to begin Sunday evening. We're going to have crews beginning Sunday evening and working 24 hours throughout this event. I've been in constant communication with our operations department out of headquarters. We have all of our resources ready to go. All of our equipment is ready to go. Our employees are ready to go. And if any additional resources are needed at any time, I've been reassured by administration that those resources will be directed to the needs here in Southwest Louisiana. But at this time, if anyone has any questions, we'd be glad to take them. Yes, ma'am.
Can you be more specific on what they will be doing, the equipment, the men, like and women, and your other resources?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question was give a little bit of detail about what DOTD crews will be doing during this event. Starting Sunday evening, we will have crews out on the interstate system on I-10 and 210 bridges, putting down pre-treatment materials of salt and brine material. Come Monday morning at 6 a.m., we will have crews on the interstate system as well as other routes applying that salt and brine materials in preparation for the weather that's going to be coming in Monday evening, as just discussed. Those crews will continue to monitor that and continue to apply those materials to the roadways. We also have equipment there. If the forecast is on and we do have that snow, we do have equipment ready to scrape that snow off the roadways and to try and prevent any of that snow from melting and refreezing and causing issues on the roadway. So we do have those resources, and they are being staged strategically throughout our region. And we have also been in communication with our administration about renting additional resources if those needs come. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Will you just be on the interstate, or are you gonna try to get some of the other major roads?
We're definitely going to be on the interstate is our primary focus, especially the I-10 and 210 bridges are a highlight, a main priority to keep this corridor open and flowing. But we are going to treat all bridges on the interstate system in our region. We're also going to be treating the U.S. routes, so 171 going north through DeRidder all the way to Maryville, the U.S. 190 and U.S. 165. And then there are also other bridge locations that are elevated that are going to receive treatment. If the conditions allow and we do have the resources and time, we will hit other secondary routes. These have been identified, but they are secondary. We are going to focus primarily on our interstate system and our U.S. routes. We are, again, as I said, we are working with local police and state. If they do see something, we had our pre-meetings, we are aware. They do have all our communication channels are open and working, and they will communicate any issues they see to us so we can prioritize the needs and address everything that we can.
Is there any plan or advice for people if they do get stuck on a bridge where there's a wreck and all of a sudden you have people stuck in their cars for, perhaps an extended period?
Right. The question was, is there any preparations that people can take, in case of getting stuck on the roadway during this event? And absolutely, DOTD continues to encourage just people to stay off the roadways during this time. That is the best thing, is just to stay home, bunker down for a few days. We know how long this event's going to last. And if you don't have to be on the roadways, we ask that we do not get on the roadways. And that way we're not, state police and others are not working accidents that are unnecessary. We understand that commerce continues, that people travel to work and things have to get on the road to conduct business. We understand that. We do ask that you maybe put supplies in your vehicle to be prepared for those uncontrollable circumstances, and that may be blankets, food or water, things of that nature. But we are strategically placed with resources to address accidents on any of the bridge structures in town. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
One more question. We appreciate the updates that you guys give by email. Is this a good time to remind people who may be viewing this will you be reporting to that same, through that same way to let people know what's happening?
Yes, absolutely. DOTD is going to be continuing to put out our My DOTD press releases. We're going to be using our 511 website. So if any road closures or things of that nature, we ask you to encourage you to visit our DOTD website and use that. And we'll be also using Facebook, Twitter, and other means of social media to to continue to update the public of what's going on in our operations. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Very important information. Safety, of course, is primary in any situation, especially when there's some risk to being out on the road. I think we want to extend the discussion a little more about transportation, because think about the state routes that Seth was talking about, but of course we've got a whole local road system throughout the cities and unincorporated areas in this parish and surrounding parishes. So at this time I'd like to ask Sheriff Stitch Gilreath come forward, talk about some of their preparations for that and any of the other operations from the law enforcement side that they are dealing with. Stitch?
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Anytime we have a weather event such as this, you just always try to be prepared what could happen. What we don't want is a repeat of what we had last year, through no fault of our own, before DOT could get up there and put the brine down on the road. We ended up having a number of accidents, and it shut down 210 Bridge, and once we got behind the 8 ball, it was pretty tough to get caught up. But I think DOT has a really good plan in place that they're going to start early enough that hopefully we can avoid that. The best way that the public can help us avoid that is if you don't have to be on the road, after 9, 10 o'clock Monday, please don't be out there on the road. I know myself, I have a number of teenagers, and they like to run the roads, but, speaking to parents, we're asking you to keep your teenagers off the road. When you have a really cold event like this and you throw rain on top of it, the precipitation, it's not a good mixture. We're not used to driving in those type of conditions, especially our teenagers. So I'm asking you to go above and beyond and try to keep your teenagers off the road. That's the biggest help that you can do for us. I can tell you, area law enforcement is going to be working together, doing whatever we can to keep our roads safe. But in situations like this, you just never know when somebody's going to hit a patch of ice and cause a major accident. And once that happens and we get behind the 8 ball again, then we're just always trying to catch up. So I can promise you we in law enforcement are working together, putting together a plan that's going to be beneficiary to our community. I have a meeting this afternoon with all of the chiefs, and we're going to work out all the details and have a good plan in place. And so we're here if anybody needs any assistance. That's the great thing about our area, our law enforcement. We're always working together, helping each other, working as a team, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and we're going to do whatever we have to do to keep our community safe. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you. Yes.
Can you comment on elderly and space heaters or anything like that? Is that what we're talking about? Are you careful?
Well, I'm a policeman, not a fireman. No, I'm just kidding. but yes, you always have to be careful about those space heaters. They put out an enormous amount of heat, and so you always have to be careful not to put them too close to anything that can catch on fire. And anytime the temperatures dip to the freezing, that's one of the things that we're concerned about is somebody's house catching on fire, which we hope they don't. But but thank you, Brian. It's important to bring that up, and just be very careful and mindful of the distance that you put space heaters and hopefully nothing to catch on fire. But that's always a big thing when you're dealing with cold weather. So, all right, thank you. I used to be a volunteer fireman.
Yeah, well, that counts. Thank you, Sheriff. So let's switch and talk about utilities now, specifically for today, power, which of course everybody's always interested in, and when that has some challenges where it may be affected, we want to hear from those providers. We have 2 of them here today, Entergy, Beauregard Electric. We appreciate that. We'll ask Entergy to come up first, and they're represented today by Lorena Caesar. Lorena, thanks for coming.
Good morning. Again, my name is Lorena Caesar with Entergy Customer Service Manager. As with all the other agencies here, Entergy is also closely monitoring the storm that is approaching the area. In preparation for that, we will have crews stationed on both sides of the bridge in the anticipation that the bridges are closed. We will have workers able to restore power on both sides. We do have additional crews here in the area, and as we monitor the weather, if we see there's the need for more crews, we will have them come in stage before the weather event occurs. With that being said, in the event of any outages, the quickest way to report an outage is by calling our outage line, and that number is 1-800-9-OUTAGE. We have agents standing by 24/7 to take your call. Also, if you have the Energy app, you can use the Energy app on your phone to report an outage as well. So just a little bit about the restoration process during the cold weather events. It is a little different than our normal restoration process. So in cold weather, instead of heating up like a whole feeder at a time, we have to take the restoration process sections at a time. That being because everyone will have their heaters on, probably at full blast, all their devices on, trying to stay warm. So as to prevent any further damage to the line, we will take sections at a time. Once that holds, we'll go on to the next section. So it will be a process in that. Also, additionally, as always, safety is paramount, not only for our customers, but also for our line workers. So if the winds reach 30 miles per hour or higher, the service guys cannot go up in the bucket trucks for their safety, like I said, as well as safety for the public. And speaking of safety, if you do see a power line, please do not go near it. You don't know if it is a live wire or a dead wire. It is hard to tell. Please stay away from it. Please call that number, that 1-800-9-OUTAGE, and report that to us so we can go out there and make repairs. At this point, do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Lorena. We'll next hear from Beauregard Electric, Mike Viator.
Thank you, Brian. Mike Viator, General Manager, Beauregard Electric. I'm fairly new at this. I've been on the job for about 6 weeks now. I don't want to repeat the safety implications that were just mentioned, a lot of the similarities there. A couple things to note. A little over a week or so ago, we had some below freezing temperatures, not nearly what we're going to see now, but it actually gave us an opportunity to analyze the system. We were able to see where there were a couple of systems that were right at capacity. So we've taken that data and moved it into this week. And so this week we've spent looking at the data from last week, done some switching to balance out the loads to make it a little bit more reliable. We think we've looked at the relay settings on some of the things and been able to make some adjustments. But likewise, if we do have some situations, the best thing you can do, you can call Beauregard Electric and report it. But our outage map on the website, or if you follow us on Facebook, the outage map is extremely accurate. It's electronic, so we typically know if your electricity went out before you do. Our operations system is manned 24/7, regardless of the storm. They're able to look at it, diagnose exactly where it is that tripped, and we have crews. We cover 7 parishes. We touch in 7 parishes. So we actually have 3 different sections. We have crews in each section that are ready to respond, as well as some contractors. We plan for the worst and hope for the best. But we feel like we've done everything we can from a capacity standpoint, from a system standpoint, to get it balanced to give us our best chance to be able to make it through. Any questions? Thank you.
We appreciate that, Mike. Very helpful. So we know in emergency situations, it tests everybody's assets and preparations, and they're all important. One of the toughest, though, is being the school superintendent, because you have about 5,000 staff and about 30,000 plus students, and a lot of important decisions have to be made. Fortunately, we've got the right person for that. So the superintendent, Jason Van Meter, we've been meeting with, and he's going to come update what the current status is regarding schools and looking ahead as best you can to Monday, Tuesday, and beyond. So at this time, is Jason here? Thank you. Come on up, Jason.
Thank you, sir. We did want to go ahead and tell everybody that Of course, we are in constant communication with the officials here. We are watching the weather ourselves as well. In addition, we are in touch with the National Weather Service, and Doug, he's been awesome in meeting with us to help make decisions as we move forward. Normally, what we would do is we would make decisions about a day or so prior to having to close if we needed to, and we're still several days out from that. But know that, we are going to inform you if we do have to close. We're already closed on Monday in observance of Martin Luther King Day. But we are watching the weather very, very closely, and we'll update families as we make a decision. Any questions? All right.
Jason, if you don't mind, and if you said it, I apologize. Is there a time yet where y'all have decided when you might make an announcement regarding if there might be closures? And it's okay if not, just I wanted, if you knew that.
Yes, sir. So normally we would make an announcement a day or so ahead of time. In this case, we're looking very, very closely. I'm in contact with the other superintendents in the area too. We were initially thinking of having a decision out there by Sunday. In terms of what we're looking at Tuesday, we figured by that time we would have some really firm data from the National Weather Service in terms of what this is going to look like. We're looking at Sunday at the latest to have a decision out there.
Appreciate that very much. Of course, we all know this. If and when things change, we're going to be in constant communication. That includes the folks with Weather Service, all the public agencies that are responding, school systems, etc. All right, this time we always like to have some comments from our local elected officials at the parish and the municipalities. So we'll start off. Police Jury President Judd Barris is here, and I'm going to ask him to start off. And I'm also going to ask for any mayors here today, or I know, Kenny, you're here on behalf of Westlake. If you come on up and stand with the group, because there may be questions for any of you, depending on where the viewers are. And we'll go from there, but I'd like to start with President Judd Barris.
Thank you, Brian. Sheriff Guillory, first of all, thank you for saying, mentioning the teenagers staying off the road. Now I can tell my daughter, say, hey, look, Daddy didn't do it. Sheriff Stitz did it. Yes. It's always great when our local leaders get to come together and provide our residents with a unified message and demonstrate that we do work very well together. On behalf of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury and other leadership in the parish, I want to thank everyone for their efforts and cooperation in preparing for this upcoming weather event. We could not be successful without the help of all of our partners throughout our region who lend their resources, facilities, time, and for volunteers who are critical in times like these. We encourage everyone to take necessary precautions ahead of time based on the information that we are providing and will continue to provide. When it comes to water, please make your pipes, make sure those are taken care of. And as far as the dripping of the water, the running of the water, we don't want to cause any undue stress on our water departments, all the separate entities. It all adds up, and so drip is just fine. That's plenty. Please keep an eye out for updates on the weather conditions. Doug Kramer, Rockstar, thank you. Very informative. This is going to be a moving, fluid event. It's changed tremendously over the last 36 hours. So please pay attention to your local media, and we will continue with updates as well. As mentioned earlier, please take safety seriously. Stay off the roads. If you don't need to be on them, stay off. That's like Sheriff Guillory said. These guys work these accidents. They know what causes them, and it's people driving when they should not be. So please watch out. If you have to go out, please, you don't have to go there that fast, I promise you. Again, thank everybody. Good luck, and we appreciate it. Please stay safe, and we will continue with updates as we know more.
May I? Good morning, everyone. Mayor Nick Hunter, City of Lake Charles. City of Lake Charles is working closely with all of our agency partners, as we always do. As President Barris mentioned, when events like this happen, these groups come together, and we really do operate like a well-oiled machine. And I appreciate those comments. They are echoed by many. So the City of Lake Charles will be working to provide some public transportation on Sunday and Monday. Monday, especially a day that we typically don't provide transportation, is MLK Day. But we will be doing so from the hours of 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, Monday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we will have specific spots where people can get picked up at a bus stop and get transported to the warming center. We want to be very specific that the transportation on Sunday and Monday is to bring you from the bus stop to the warming center. And we highly encourage that if you feel you need to reach that warming center, you do it, take advantage of that Sunday and Monday, those windows, because like other vehicles, if the conditions do not allow, we may not be able to have our buses on the road on Tuesday, possibly even into Wednesday, depending on what the weather conditions are. Those locations, and these will all be released on our Facebook page and the city's website. McDonald's on Ryan Street across from McNeese, Walmart on Ryan Street, 5th Avenue at Emerald Point, Southwest Louisiana Center for Health Services at Opelousas Street, the MLK Center at Simmons and Fitzenrider, Prater and Harless Street, downtown at the high-rise Ryan and Mill Street, Mill and Goss, Abraham's Tent at Frugier Street, McDonald's on Broad Street, Salvation Army on Legion Street, Legion on Highway 14, 2nd Avenue at Golden Arms, Walmart on Highway 14, 5th Avenue and College, Walmart on Nelson, 18th Street next to the Dollar Tree, and Walmart on Ryan. Again, I want to say that all of those locations, Sunday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Monday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and if you need to get to the warming shelter, the warming station, take advantage of those opportunities. Families, we understand that there are some families that are in need any day, whether it's sunny and 74 degrees outside, or a day like we are expecting over the next few days. Families can dial 211 if they are in need in this community. And I want to give a quick example. I spoke with Denise Durrell, President and CEO of United Way this morning, and she's given me permission to give these examples. In the last event, there were some families that were at a warming center, and United Way was able to connect with them, bring some caseworkers, and this week, one of those families is being set up in permanent housing, a very sustainable and healthy situation for that family moving forward. So we encourage families on any day, but especially days like we're about to have, dial 211 if you have additional needs. If for some reason on Sunday and Monday you can't get to one of those bus stops, if there is a physical way that physical burden or you are not able to get to one of those bus stops, dial 211. LCPD, as always, will be patrolling, and they will be assisting with security at the warming shelter. I will end my comments talking and reinforcing comments about water. A drip of water is all that is necessary. We understand that the culture here and the way that we face these events, that these cold weather events are much less common here in Southwest Louisiana than they are in other parts of the country. But a drip, if you can see the water literally dripping out of your faucet, that is what is needed. When people turn on a full-blown faucet and leave it going for hours and hours on end, the burden and the stress on a municipal water system is just monumental. And it is remarkable to see the huge spike in water supply when people are doing that. So we get it. We know people are going to do it. We know it's the culture here. Not every house needs to do that, but we understand that most people are going to do it just to be safe. A drip is all that's needed. And when the sun comes out and it's getting above freezing, turn the drip off, because that's going to make a huge impact and allow us to be able to serve and service our water customers. Public Works, as always, will be in place. We have generators ready for all of our major public buildings, including water and wastewater facilities. Any questions for me? Okay. May I toss it to Mayor Dennehy? I covered it? All right.
I just want to reiterate what he had said about the water and the dripping of water. Do not run the faucets. That puts a great amount of pressure on not only our system, but it drains our tanks. We lose pressure. We end up with boil advisories. It affects our emergency medical facilities. It affects our fire protection. So we ask that you please drip it, don't run it. Thank you.
Well, I guess one of the things people didn't say yet is when you're out there, make sure that you wrap your pipes and protect your home. But also remember those people that have irrigation systems out there, if you can close your backflow preventer and drain those pipes to keep those from breaking. Also, a lot of people forget about that. And make sure you bring your pets in and take care of your pets. And just be safe out there. Remember, if we do get snow, we know there are going to be people out there driving and looking around. So if you see something that's a water pipe bust or something like that, try and report it to the Public Works. Everybody be safe. Thank you.
Thank you all. Very good information. This wasn't on the agenda, but I know Dr. Kavanaugh is here. Do you care to say anything on the public health side? Okay. She says no, other than reiterating all the things that each of the folks have covered. But we appreciate you being here. It's very important. Sorry, I had to ask. Okay, so at this time, we don't have another public briefing schedule. However, everybody that's been up here has mentioned it. The parish and the cities and the sheriff, all of us have, typically the best way to communicate or keep up with information is through our respective social media, Facebook pages. As soon as information changes, it's on there. That's the best way to reach any of that, certainly. You know how to reach the agencies. When in doubt, if you think it's an emergency, please call 911. And as I think Mayor Hunter mentioned and others, 211 is a very good service for general human services needs that aren't an immediate emergency. But that will wrap up our briefing for today. Are there any general questions on anything we may have overlooked before we conclude? Okay, being none, thank you for your time and presence today, and as information is reported, we will put it out there. Thank you.